This is the test review of part one anyway. I'm looking at 9A.1 and 9A.2, 0 and negative exponents and power to a power law. So when you look for this assignment or the homework quiz as it might be listed out, these are the questions. You're going to see it in quiz format though. I have my sketch pad here so we can look at some of these answers. So this is all focused on to begin with negative exponents and 0 exponents. So my x to the 19, that's good. There's nothing to worry about with that. The negative exponent, though, there's two things we have to do with that. We have to change its position, as in top to bottom, and we have to make it become positive. So that negative y to the 10, when you move it to the bottom, y to the negative 10 becomes y to the power of positive 10. Anything to the power of 0, technically you can just cancel this out because it just equals 1. And when you times something by 1, it doesn't actually do anything at all. So for my answer here, be careful. This says y to the 19, this says x to the 19. So make sure you're looking at variables carefully. X to the 19 and y to the 10. So on mine, it's the third answer. But when you come to do your question, it might be something different. Simplify the expression here. So we're going to do numbers first, letters second, and alphabetical order. So 7 times 16. I got my Desmos calculator set up here, and you're going to be using it a lot for this test. You're going to be doing lots of little calculations, but we just want to make sure we don't make any mistakes there. Whoops, I keep forgetting you don't need to put the equals, it'll just do it for you. So 112. So already I can see it's between A and B here, because this one says negative 112, and this one just says 23. So I know it's 112. My exponents, I got x to the 4 and x to the 12. So as they're next to each other, that means multiply, but that does not mean that you multiply the exponents. It means that you add the exponents. So 4 add 12 is 16. And that would actually be enough for you to figure out the correct answer for this one, that you could figure out that it's B and not this one here because it actually has x to the 8 in. I'm going to keep going just so we can see the rest. Y's, you would add the exponents again. Negative 2 add negative 4. And this would be one where you would definitely want to check on your Desmos calculator. A lot of people still guessing on questions like this and making way too many mistakes. So the answer is negative 6. And the only one term with z here, so that's just going to be z to the 4. And same thing, no negative exponents. So switch their position, make them positive. And then let's just go back and check that answer just to make sure it agrees. Yes, on mine it's the second answer, but you would just find the one that works for you. Question 3. So I'm going to simplify again. So as I'm dividing, I'm subtracting exponents here. So I got 9 divided by 6. So you'd want to do that on the Desmos calculator as well. So let me go to there. 9 divided by 6. It'll give it you as a decimal. But click on the fraction and it will convert it for you. So 3/2. And that looks like it might get rid of some answers as well. First answer doesn't have a 2 on the bottom, so I know it's not that. This has a 3 and a 2. This has a 3 and a 2. And this has a 3 and a 2. But that's a pretty good start. We got rid of something. For my exponents, I got x to the negative 10 and x to the 1. So as I'm dividing, I'm subtracting those. So I'm doing negative 10. Take away 1, which is negative 11. So as I write that in, my y to the power of negative 11. Remember what that actually means though. Oh, sorry, x to the power of negative 11. I apologize. Remember with negative exponents, you're going to change their position and you're going to make them positive. And actually at this stage, I think I do know what the answer is. This one has x to the 9. This one has x to the 9. This one has x to the 11. So I know that that is the correct answer. Just to prove it, 2 take away negative 2 is positive 4. Which is exactly what it says on that question. Now for question 4, we've seen a few of these at the end of lesson 9A.2 and 9A.3, where they actually give you the answer. So they're going to ask you something within the question. So remember for exponents, we are adding these. So what I've really got when I'm multiplying is a plus negative 7 equals 3. Now, if you're not sure what that is, remember you can actually type that into the Desmos calculator to solve an equation. So a plus negative 7 equals 3. Now, it'll say error, and it'll remind you they only have equations for x and y. So if you change the a into an x, it will actually, and it's a little bit off the edge here. There we go. We can just about see the answer here. If you click on the intercept or the dot, it will actually tell you what the answer is. So for the first one then, I know that a must equal 10. and that will actually get rid of 2 of my answers straight away for this. So for my choices, I know it's either B or D. For the other one, same thing. Just ignore the top of this fraction now. These are next to each other, which means I'm multiplying them. So for exponents, though, when I multiply, I just add the exponents. So in other words, B plus 3 equals 8. I think we can do this one without the graphing calculator. 5 add 3 is obviously 8. And then we can pick out the correct answer here using those 2 numbers. Question 5. So 1 through 4 is actually the first part of the test. That's the 0 and negative exponents. 5 through 10 is going to focus more on the power to a power rule. So power to a power rule is when we have the parentheses and then there's an exponent on the outside, and we've kind of got to distribute it inside. That's kind of what we're doing. We've got to make sure we apply this -2, not just to the z, but to the y to the 4, to the x squared, and the 3. So I would strongly recommend you getting paper for these questions in particular, probably also for the earlier ones as well. Take each term and just write it to the power of, -2. So y to the power of 4 to the -2. And then right on the end there, we're going to have that z to the power of -2 as well. So if we're not sure, we can just use our calculator for this. 3 to the power of -2. So 3, let me get my power button out there. 3 to the power of -2. And it gives us a decimal, but remember, we're really interested in the fraction. So 1/9. And let's have a look. Is that enough for us to figure out the answer already? This one has a 3 on the top, so it's not that one. This one says -9, so that's wrong. This one has a 9 on the bottom, and this one doesn't either. So actually, we could have figured out the answer straight away just from doing that very first part of the question. It would be this answer choice here. Now, if we were to continue, 2 times -2 is -4, because we're doing power to a power. 4 times -2 is -8. And the last one just says z to the -2. Notice as all these are negative exponents, we would want to switch their position and make them positive. Move it from the top to the bottom and make it positive. And same for this one here. This is also a negative exponent. Move it from the top to the bottom and make it positive. And whoops, that should confirm that that is the right answer as I thought it was. Question 6, I think, is actually a little bit easier. 5x to the 6 cubed, so same thing. This is power to a power. So I want to make sure each term is raised to the power of 3. So I want to make the 5 raised to the power of 3. And I want to make x to the power of 6 raised to the power of 3 as well. So 5 cubed, we're just going to use our Desmos calculator for this one. 5 to the power of 3 is 125. And that also gets rid of 2 answers as well. For powers here, we multiply these together. So that would be 6 times 3. And 6 times 3 is 18. So on my answer, at least, this would be answer choice B. It might be different as you're doing the pretest. Question 7, same idea. This time it's squared. And on this question, this is really important. So I've been putting parentheses around all my terms as I've been raising them to a power. On this question in particular, if you don't do that, you would actually get the wrong answer. So that's the reason we do this. You don't have to do it for every question, but you're not necessarily going to know when you do need to do it. So sometimes it's better just to do it for every question to make sure that it doesn't mess up. So I'm just going to show you, if you put -5 squared, it will say -25. If you put -5 in parentheses and square it, it will give +25. And that's actually the answer that we want. So it might be dangerous if you did do this and got -25 and then look at the answers. Oh, look, this is the only answer that has -25. And you might pick that, and that's actually the wrong answer for this question. I can actually tell you what the answer for this one is. It's not this one because it says -25. This has 25 on the bottom of the fraction, so it's not that. This has 25 on the top, so it's this one here. And that obviously doesn't say 25 either. So I already know that it's C, but I'm going to keep going. -3 times 2 is -6. And b to the power of 2 is just b to the power of 2. Once again, any negative exponents, you're just going to switch their position and make them positive. So I believe I said it was answer choice 3. And there you go. You can see that that's true. All right, question 8. So this time I got to do all these terms to the power of -3. So I got to do -4 to the power of -3, I have to do m to the power of 5 to the negative 3. And the last one is n to the power of negative 3, also to the power of negative 3. So let me use the Desmos calculator for the first one. It says negative 4 in parentheses to the power of negative 3. We get a decimal, so let's click on that. Negative 1 over 64. So I know I got my negative sign here, and I got a 64 on the bottom. Let's see how that looks. Well, this has got a negative sign and a 64 on the bottom. This says 12, so that's wrong. This says negative 64, so that would be wrong too. And this one says negative 4. So once again, just by doing this first part of the question and checking this on Desmos, I can actually get the right answer. If I keep going, 5 times negative 3 is negative 15. And negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And once again, any negative exponents, we're going to move them position. So we move it from the top to the bottom, and we make it positive. And you can indeed see, you can indeed see that that is the correct answer. There's the n to the 9, m to the 15, and that negative 1 over, this one here. I do apologize. I read totally the wrong answer again. Yes, it's this answer here that you can see. All right, question 9, almost at the end here. So some of these have already been worked out. So 4 cubed, they've already got 64. N to the power of 5 and 3, 5 times 3 is 15. They've already worked that out. They haven't worked out this one here, though, with the m. So I have m to the power of p, all raised to the power of 3, equals m to the power of 27. So what this actually means then is when I multiply these together, it's going to equal 27. So p times 3, we just put numbers first and letters second. And if you're not sure, you can go ahead and type this into Desmos, 3x equals 27 and solve. Or you could just try each number as well. Is 3 times 30 27? Hopefully you'd realize for this one fairly quickly that 3 times 9 is 27. And that's obviously why that's the answer for this question. And on your last question, very similar one, but this time we actually have a fraction. So that should probably tell us this is going to be a negative number, and that would also reduce our answers a little bit. So I can see the first term I have is 2 to the power of p equals, and then the number for this question you can see is 1 over 16. And we could literally just try each answer, and let's see which one actually gives us the right one. So the first answer choice was negative 4. So 2 to the power of negative 4 is 1 over 16. So let's take a look at that. Oh, there we go. We actually found our answer on the very first try. If you try any of the other answers, you will not end up with that. 2 to the power of 4 is positive 16, which would be on the top of the fraction. 2 to the power of negative 15 is a very big number, so it's not that one either. And 2 to the power of negative 8, off the top of my head, I think is 1 over 256. That's certainly not the 1 over 16 you can see in the question. The thing you have to be careful of is not doing this. 3 times something is 12. Oh, 3 times 4 is 12, and then picking that answer. Remember, this is actually not x to the 12. What happened was it was actually a negative exponent on the top of the fraction, and then the negative got moved to the bottom and made positive. So actually for this question, I could have done it this way as well. 3 times p is negative 12. And actually, as we try to work out that, 3 times negative 4 gives you negative 12. That's the end of the first part. So you should be able to take the 9A.1 test and the 9A.2 test at this point. And there will also be a video for the 9A.3 test as well.